There's a change happening in the way we live, the way we work, the way we spend our money and make our decisions. We are evolving to be more conscious in our actions in a way that serves the world and makes it a better place. Welcome to the Ethical Evolution. The Ethical Evolution podcast is brought to you by Ethical Change Agency. I'm Bindi, I'm the founder, and my mission is to help ethical entrepreneurs and holistic healers to find their voice through spiritual coaching and podcasting. I'm honoured to bring you the stories of those who create change through healing, kindness, innovation, purpose, and spirit. Understanding that to create collective change, we need to be the change. It all begins with us. Anna Schlinghoff is an author, Reiki Master, highest self spiritual coach, and human design reader based in Dallas, Texas. Her book, The Soul's Human Experience, is a guidebook for souls living with human bodies. Navigating the human experience can be difficult without an inner compass to guide us, and that compass is our soul. In this episode, Anna and I discuss her journey, living in alignment, and being the change we want to see in the world. Welcome, Anna, to the Ethical Evolution.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here too, because it's almost like you and I are kindred spirits. So it's very, very cool for us to be together today. But for people who don't know who you are and what you do, can you tell us?
Yes, absolutely. And I, just on that note, believe that there are no accidents. So I'm sure that we know each other from a past lifetime or whatnot. But yes, I'm a spiritual coach focusing on higher self-alignment. And I'm also a Reiki Master, a certified human design reader, and an author with my first book just released on November 11th called The Soul's Human Experience.
Yeah, and just everything you said there, I'm like, oh my God, I'm just so curious on all of it. Let's start with your spiritual coaching, because I'm also a spiritual coach. I'd love to hear about your spiritual awakening.
Yeah, absolutely. My journey is probably not unlike a lot of people's, but basically I found myself in a corporate situation. I did what society had told me to do, go to school, get a job, the end, right? And then I found myself deeply unhappy. And I was like, wait a minute, is this all there is to life? Am I supposed to be happy with this? And I wasn't happy. So it basically set me on a quest to find answers to the questions that I had, because if that was the way it was supposed to be, then I needed to know why. And if it wasn't, then I needed to change something and I needed to figure it out. So that was the start of my journey and how I ended up where I am today.
Yeah, and I was reading your bio, and the story, The Secret, also had something to play in your story, didn't it?
Yes, that was before. So that was the true catalyst.
Yeah.
But yes, that was my first realization that, maybe there was another way to live your life, that it didn't have to be so rigid. And that's when I really started looking into all this stuff further.
Yeah. And I guess that's where you started to see real change, right?
Yep, definitely. I know it's been the catalyst for a lot of people, whether they read the book or saw the movie. It's changed a lot of people's lives, and I was one of those people. But that's what set it all off for me, was The Secret.
Yeah, I actually watched that the movie not long ago, and I hadn't read the book or any of that kind of stuff. I knew about the principles and was pretty much all over it. But when I watched it, I was like, oh. And then, afterwards, you're just more aware to all the things that are happening. And you're like, oh, okay, I see what's happening here. So it's like you just become really aware of how the universe has got everything designed exactly as it should be, and everything will happen as it's meant to.
Absolutely.
Now, the book, The Soul's Human Experience, can you tell us a bit about that?
I would love to. Yeah. So it's basically a book that I wish I had when I was asking these questions. So it's a beginner's guide to spirituality, and it explains who you really are, why you're here and what your purpose is, what you're actually capable of, and that you don't have to subscribe to, what society tells you, that you're a person in a body that is supposed to do this and that and follow these steps, and that there's so much more to it. And so I just think that it would be so helpful to the population as a whole if all of this was known basically from childhood, right? And what that shift would look like in our world if we were all equipped with that information. So that's why I wrote it, because I felt that everyone has a right to know these things.
Yeah, and there's some big questions in there, like who are we and why are we here? When people actually get to their purpose or struggle to find it, that can be a bit of a it either helps their soul come alive, or it can be soul destroying for them if they can't actually tap into that. Do you experience that in the coaching that you do?
Yeah, definitely. Purpose is so misunderstood, and people, they want to know, what am I here to do? Because if you don't have that, you feel disconnected, you feel lost, you feel like, you're wasting your days, whatever. It's individual for everyone, but there's some level of disconnect. And we're all led to believe that it's this grand romantic idea, but it's really not. It's so much more general, and it's so it's kind of sprinkled into everything you do. And I think we're all just misled about what it actually is. And so that's why I devoted a whole chapter to it, because it's so important.
And I have so many people, that I've coached, and just trying to tap into that for some people. And you can just see, there's so many people who go through life and they're completely unconscious, completely disconnected, and you just want to grab them and shake them and go, hey, wake up, Do you get that? Like, I want to help these people actually wake up to who they really are.
Yes, that was one of my main drivers for writing the book, because I feel that there are so many people walking around just completely unawake. And I want to change that. I want people to know, like, this is your truth, and you can step into it.
Yeah, and I just think what a life that is to go through your entire life and not have that connection and that truth of yourself, and understanding who you really are.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's your right.
Yeah.
And you should know about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, another thing that you and I have in common, we face quite a few common misconceptions about spirituality. I'd love to hear yours.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many. I think one of the biggest ones is that people think it has to look a certain way, that spirituality is a box and you're supposed to do these things and not supposed to do these things. And in reality, there are so many different paths. There's an infinite number of ways to have a spiritual journey. And so it's not that at all. And I think that people can be judgmental if they don't understand it, that what spirituality looks like is different for everyone. And your way is the way that's correct for you to experience it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know about you, but people often get it confused with religion. When they ask, what does a spiritual coach do? It's like, oh, that sounds super cool. It's like, I'm finding there's more and more people becoming spiritual coaches now, and people are more receptive to it than they used to be. Because, like any coaching or any training, it's unique and custom to the person. And that's how I deal with it anyway. But no doubt you get all the weird questions too.
Yeah, of course. And that's to be expected, right? People have questions. I'm sure I asked really weird questions at one point, and, that's fine. It's okay. Like, that's part of my role as a guide, to help you personalize your experience and answer your questions. And that's okay.
So can you tell us about some of the transformational change that you've helped to create with people that you've done coaching with?
Yeah, actually, my favorite way that I've helped people is on my Instagram, I do free Reiki every week.
Oh, nice.
And the feedback that I get that, I really needed that, or that helped me so much, to me, that is the most powerful, not to discount any other experiences. But my reasoning is because I do it for free because I feel that everyone should have access to healing tools, and not everyone can go and get a coach. So if I can offer you healing and support in a 30-second video and you benefit from that, that's, in my mind, how you help the masses, is one person at a time in those ways that are truly just like genuine service and support and holding space for people that otherwise may not have space held for them. And so that is one of my favorite ways to help people.
And I love that that you're making that accessible to everyone, because, everybody needs to heal. Everybody has a healing journey. And unfortunately, not everybody, like you said, can afford a coach or, the latest therapy. But there's practical ways that people can help heal themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah. One great way would be to read my book, but
Hot tip.
Everyone deserves to heal. Exactly right.
Yeah. And just looping back to your Reiki, for another thing that's becoming hugely popular, can you tell us about what Reiki is for those people who don't understand?
Yeah, absolutely. Reiki is a healing modality based in Japan from the 1920s-ish. It actually goes back farther than that, but that's when the founder discovered it on a mountain. And essentially, it's a very gentle energy, and it's the energy of the universe. That it's the same energy that we already have moving through us. So everyone has access to it, but Reiki is a specific frequency of this energy, and it is super gentle, but yet very powerful. It can do no harm because it is the energy of universal love. And it can be used for anything: physical, emotional, spiritual. It's just another tool that I use for healing that I find is very accessible. People are receptive to it, and it is very powerful.
And that's something that you can also do remotely, right?
Yes, absolutely. You can do distance healing because energy is not bound by time or space, right? So it works that way as well.
And in terms of technique, you're really just emitting energy, really, aren't you? And sharing that in a healing way with others who need it.
Yeah. So me as a Reiki master, I become a channel or a conduit for the energy, and I just send it through me. So that's how it works.
Very cool. And it's very powerful. Like, it can really, really help physiological concerns as well.
Yes, it is super powerful. And it always amazes me when people say what they felt, because everyone experiences it differently. And so I'm always so interested to know how people receive it. And myself, one of the ways that I feel it is different to the way that most people feel it. So it just depends. But for everyone, it's beneficial. It can do no harm.
No, I'm absolutely fascinated by it. I'd actually love to be a Reiki master too. So one day.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, I also want to talk to you about living in alignment. I've got a very funny story to tell you, in that I don't know about you, but I get these messages from spirit. And I got this one day, and it's usually when I'm in autopilot, when I'm not consciously in something. And this one day I got this jolt from the blue. It was like a gut punch, seriously. And I got the words, "You're not living in alignment."
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay. And it was like a wake-up call. It literally was a wake-up call. And I was like, okay. And I knew exactly what I had to do. I knew exactly what it meant. And I went ahead and I made those changes that it was telling me to do. But when it comes to living in alignment, a lot of people don't understand what that means. Do you want to go through that for us?
Yeah, I love your story so much. That resonates with me deeply. Sometimes I get those too, but I love that. Living in alignment can look different for everyone, but at the most basic level, it basically means remembering who you truly are
Mm.
and trying to embody that. So your highest self knows what your highest timeline is and how to help nudge you towards it. And that is living in alignment. And then there are ways that you can support that, which looks different for everyone, like I said. But at the most basic level, it's essentially remembering who you are and embodying it.
Yeah, and just to go back on my example, I guess it really clearly aligns with my mission as well around ethical change and all these kind of things, because you really do think about the decisions that you make and the choices that you make, and whether they are in alignment with your truth, and I think that's where that message was coming from. Particularly when you're someone who's perhaps doing a job just to get by that doesn't align with where your truth really sits. That kind of is part of that living in alignment.
Yep, it's about letting go of what doesn't serve you, what doesn't light you up, what doesn't serve others, and saying yes to the things that do excite you, that do pique your curiosity, that do serve others in a positive way.
Now, you're also a human design reader. What on earth is that?
So human design is kind of like the new astrology. It is it's a combination of astrology, of the I Ching, of the Kabbalah. It's like a fusion of these methods. And essentially what it is it tells you how your energy best functions in the world. So we each have an energy type, and then there are ways that you can utilize that energy type to optimize how you move throughout the world so that you can get the best experience possible with the least resistance. And I've found it's scary accurate, way resonated for me way more than astrology. I was really gravitated towards it when I read my own chart and was like, wow, that couldn't be more spot on. And I just find it very fascinating because I am an energy healer. And so the fact that it is talks about your energy and your design of it just was right up my alley to really dive in deep to it. It's very fascinating.
So does it work kind of like having archetypes? Is it that kind of thing?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different energy types, and then they each have a wide number of variations within that. So it's specific to the way it's almost like when you do an astrological birth chart, you have to put in your time of birth, your place of birth, and all that. You do that for human design as well. So it's very specific. And then your chart is like your energetic fingerprint.
That is very cool. It almost is a little bit like Akashic records too, a little bit like that. Yeah, very cool.
I could see that parallel. But anyone can get their chart for free. You could just Google like human design chart and you can get it.
Oh, I'm curious. I'm going to have a crack at that. Okay.
Yeah.
So your healing journey at the moment, where are you at along your journey?
The journey is never over, right? It's forever. But I'm in a place where I feel called to help others. That's another reason that I wrote the book, was because I felt a little bit like personally responsible for not sharing this vast amount of information that I had learned and put into practice and kind of trial and errored, and wanted to share what had worked for me and the truths that I had found. So I'm in a place where I feel good and comfortable, but I still do healing work. I still work with a team of different healers for various reasons and different modalities, because it's ongoing. So it's never over, but you can definitely get to a place where it becomes easier over time and you become equipped with the tools to handle challenges better and all of that.
Yeah, and I echo your same sentiment. It's something that I say a lot is that because we evolve as humans, so does our healing, and it's never ending. Just when you think you've dug so deep, there's a whole other level. And, for me, I'm finding that at the moment too. And things that come out of the blue and you're just like, well, I was not expecting that one. And it's another thing that you've now got to, work with. And I think that's the great sign of a great therapist or healer of any kind is that they're doing the work on them as at the same time as helping others.
Yeah, absolutely. You're always peeling back the layers of the onion, except you never get to the center.
Yeah.
But that's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Now, one of the questions I love to ask guests on this show, Anna, is what does being ethical mean to you?
To me, that would mean seeing the light in everyone, being able to see that at the most basic level, you are a soul, I am a soul, we are all of the same energy. And as Wayne Dyer said, see everyone as if the light in them is all you see.
Oh, that is beautiful. I have to say that's the most beautiful answer I got to that question.
Oh, thank you so much.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I absolutely love that. And I love Wayne Dyer too. Now, if people want to find out more about you, Anna, where can they go?
They can go to my website, which is annaschlinghoff.com, or on Instagram, Anna Schlinghoff. I'm posting Reiki there all the time. If anyone wants to get a taste of what it's like, I invite them to check it out. And also, you can find the links to work with me one-on-one if you feel called to do so as well.
Well, I'm going to go stalk you on Instagram because I'm going to have a crack at this Reiki. I am.
Please do. I want to hear what you think.
Now, are you planning on another book? Are you planning anything special at the moment or working on anything at the moment?
You're not the first person to ask me that. I feel like there's some expectation that when you write a book, it's
no
like,
pressure.
Well, when's the next book?
No pressure.
I'm just kidding. You're just not the first person to ask me that. I would love to write another book. I have to wait for the divine timing though, like I can't force it. Yeah. So it may come, I don't know when, but I do have some things in the works for next year, one of which being an offering that I'm very excited about. So that'll be coming in the future. And who knows, we never know where life is going to take us. So I'm here for the journey and the adventure. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's really about going with the flow, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So I have the last big question for you, Anna. What's the change you'd like to see in the world and how can we bring it to life?
I would like to see everyone understand their fundamental truths because, as I said in the beginning, I think that would just bring about the most massive shift in the world. And it sounds small, and a lot of people already know it, but I don't think everyone does. And I think if we could all understand the most basic level of what we are all universal energy, then there would be more compassion in the world, which just spirals and snowballs into much better, greater things.
Yeah, and it's that ripple effect, isn't it? Which is that collective change that I talk about all the time. I often say that, what I do today impacts your tomorrow. And it really is. We are all on the same planet and whatever I do will impact you one day. But it also happens in a positive way in that if we heal ourselves, that has a ripple effect, and that light that you speak of, other people are going to see it and they're going to be like, I really like that light. I want some of that for me. So it just has that ripple effect that we can spread around the globe.
Absolutely. And I love that you said that because I always say you have to heal yourself first before you can put that out and help others. And when you think maybe you've just helped one person and maybe it's just, you smiled at someone, that has a greater effect than you may never know because it just takes it one step and it keeps going and it keeps going.
Yeah. And this is it. The change starts with us. So we just have to start.
Yeah. The best thing you can do is work on yourself.
Yeah.
for yourself, and you don't even have to try. I made that mistake. I used to want to try and help other people. Like I wanted to fix this person or help this person. And it wasn't until I realized that I actually needed to work on myself that those things happened naturally without me even trying. So the most important thing is to work on yourself.
Absolutely. And, what you've said there also echoes the sentiment of because I'm also a Ho'oponopono practitioner. It's all part of that healing as well, is that you don't force the healing on anyone. You heal yourself, and then everything around you goes with it. So, yeah, it all starts with us.
Yes, I love that so much. I used to have that written on a Post-it on my cabinet. All the
prayer.
Yes, the prayer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, Anna, I have loved every minute with you today. Thank you so much for being a part of the Ethical Evolution.
Oh, likewise. Thank you so much for having me. It has been amazing.
Thanks for listening to the Ethical Evolution podcast. If you're ready to be the change and would love to work with me on finding your voice through spiritual coaching or creating your own podcast with impact, visit ethicalchangeagency.com.
Hey there, fabulous souls. I'm Stephanie Baklaan.
And I'm Eden Alpert.
And we're the hosts of the brand new podcast, Unapologetically Fab.
Get ready to join us on an amazing and real journey as we dive into life after 40 and own it.
We're all about changing the narrative, leaning into who you are, and living a life by your own design.
Join us as we embrace life unapologetically and redefine success.
This is Unapologetically Fab,
an Electric Cast production.
See you there.
Electricast. Electricast.
Welcome to Tuning Into Sound Wellbeing, where we harmonise your mind, body and soul. I'm Amanda, your sound therapy expert.
And I'm Stephen, the curious explorer uncovering the mysteries of sound.
Together we explore vibrations, frequencies and the power of sound therapy and tuning forks.
Discover ancient wisdom, reduce stress and tune into a healthier life. Subscribe to Tuning Into Sound Wellbeing today.
Electricast.